Hello everyone, Sabaki here, and welcome back to the Nine Realms here in Aska, where the community has spoken. I've always wanted to do one of those. So yeah, in the last episode I asked you guys which route you think we should use to connect New Asgard here with Nithafeklich, and the winner by a country mile, or a country marathon really, was to go through the forest. It is certainly the harder of the three routes, but I agree with the overall sentiment that it's probably going to be the prettiest route too. So let's take a quick look at the map and plan the path. And between episodes I did shift the Eye of Odin back just a few feet, which will allow for a nice straight start out from the warehouse. So I think the best way to handle this is to come out in line with the eye and then probably just hang a right through this part of the forest. And then once we're through, it's pretty much a straight shot through the Draugr fields all the way to Nithafeklich. So that's the plan. Let's break ground and just see how fast I can go off course. Wait, why are you alive? How are you even alive though? Wait, Jarl Baneman's back? How the heck is Jarl Baneman back? That's not supposed to happen. Wait, are all the mobs back? Oh, I don't quite know what's happened here, but we got a lot of respawns here. We got Jarl Baneman and a whole bunch of Draugr. I'm going to have to clear this out again. We cannot have these guys loose at night. Not when we're trying to build a road. They'll absolutely massacre my villagers. Okay, so Jarl Baneman is dead again, apparently. That is something I have not seen in-game. I don't know if that is a bug or a new feature, but we really have to keep an eye out for that. We did get an unexpected, or I guess really to be fair, a completely expected blizzard. So I have to run back home, warm up some before I freeze, and then we'll just pick up the rest of the road when the weather calms down a bit. You know, if you're going to run a stone road through anywhere, going through a Draugr field makes the most sense because you can harvest them up and then use the bones of your enemies, or in this case, the rocks of your enemies, to pave the road. Are you kidding me right now? You are having an absolute laugh, game. Why is this guy back again? Why is this still active? Make up your mind. Is it clear or is it not? Well, we're going to find out one way or another, so let's just carry on with the road. Alright, nice curve here, straight between these two boulders. Now, somebody in the comments of the last video said that the villagers do tend to get stuck on these immovable rocks, you know, those two little things in the middle. I haven't seen that, but I will keep an eye out for it. But I do expect to eventually be giving our villagers multiple paths, because again, we'll be spreading all across the island with various many outposts. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem, but again, something to be aware of and keep an eye on. I'm liking this bit though. I don't have to wiggle my way between trees or anything like that. It's just a very straight shot. Ooh, yeah though. There's the big copse of birch trees over there, and that's the way I want to go, because that does seem to be the way my villagers are favouring. And even if we have a road going around to the other side, I don't think they're going to respect it, and I think they're always going to go through these trees here. Yeah, okay, let's go this way. You know what, though? That lantern over there, that's just outside the mine, so that's going to be a really good mark for us to try and aim for. Also, I could not have picked a worse day or worse time of year to do this. I've had back-to-back blizzards. Holy moly. But anyway, there's our guide. Now we have to find a way to meander through all these birch trees. I think I might have to cut some down, though, realistically. There are a lot of them. To help have the road arrive sort of in the place and at the angle I want, I'm going to take a page from Darkwolf's book here and make a border road for my outpost on either side. I've seen him do this with his buildings and I love the effect. It gives a greater sense of permanence to your structures and, you know, it just looks really cool. All you do really is you just run them as close as you can outside of the blueprint in a straight line. I'll eventually loop it around entirely. But with this one place, we can sort of branch off this main road here, or what will essentially become the main road in doing this. And then hopefully when we pull this out towards our main road, our highway, in a sense, we should be able to meet it at a bit more of a better angle, and we're not going to have any sort of like wonky sudden changes of direction. Can I squeeze through here? I think I can. If I give it another bit of a bend. I am trying to keep as many of the birch as I can. This isn't really where I want to ship my birch from, and I do want to keep them sort of like for the aesthetics. And this is supposed to be just the iron outpost after all. So yeah, I really want to keep as many as I possibly can. That said, though, I can see a whole bunch of trees we are going to have to lock down, but we are on the right angle pretty much, so I think this will be fine. Yeah, we just have to get rid of maybe 2 or 3 more birch trees, and that's fine considering the size of this thing, and we've gone through like 2 wooded areas. That is a minimum number of casualties. I'm also making a point to grab as much bark as I can, since I can just turn that into fibers and then into rope, since our outpost out here still is kind of a bit short on rope. There's the morning chime, day 25. Ooh, and there's a wolf attack chime. First wolf attack of the series so far. Let's see where they're coming from. That's actually honestly kind of perfect. That is pretty much right in line with our defenses. In fact, I think that's one of our warriors out on patrol right now. Oh, actually, I wonder, can she take on a whole wolf pack by herself? We're gonna find out. I know, I gotta clear the bark out. Don't yell at me. It's more cinematic if you're not carrying a bunch of bark. Ooh, there is one of the wolves right there chasing this villager maybe. All right, let's test the axe. Oh, 3 hits. The axe, the one-handed axe is doing good work. Oh, wow, and our other warrior was doing good work too. I didn't have to do anything, really. Okay, well, I guess back to the road then. This is so much easier with the iron pickaxe, and that's actually something I'm really excited about, because now that we have the iron pickaxe, we can go and harvest Jotun blood at such an increased rate. That is really going to help explode our population. In fact, one of these nights, I'm probably just going to take the sled out, or, you know, at least empty my bags out and just go out on a full Jotun blood run and see if we can just have 4 or 5 villager worth of Jotun blood just sitting ready for that absolute back-to-back machine gun fire villager summoning. Okay, but that should be the road fully built, or, you know, not built, but at least stones loaded, or however I want to phrase that. We actually have a builder over there getting to work on it already. I'm going to try and leave the building to them as much as possible, because I'm still having nightmares about that episode of Helheim where I built the road between Birchroot and my main settlement, you know, inch by inch using the road maker. But if I find that it's just taking a bit too long, I'll probably just do it overnight over, you know, across a jump cut or something. You know me, I like my jump cuts. Okay, this is one of the things I look forward to every new game I play, getting rid of our original shelters. I do want to get another cottage out here because we are going to expand our population ever so slightly. And currently our other cottage is at capacity. So happy I can get rid of these. It will help with the bark and rope anyway. Now we will have to get rid of a couple more of these tree stumps, and then we should be good to put down a second cottage out here. Ooh, did you see that? We got a tree within a tree. Does that mean I can make a wish now? Ah, no tree within a tree within a tree, though. Let's give it a bit of an angle, make it look a little bit more natural instead of like a New York grid. Okay, there's a lot of crap on the floor. I won't do it today, but we're definitely going to have to figure out a storage solution for all of this wood and junk. Anyway, what is the time? It's 5 PM, so I probably should make my way back home soon, just in case there's a blood moon. Oh, you know what though? I actually have a sled over in Niflheim, so I could take that back with me and load it up with a bunch of hardwood long sticks. That's something I will need to take back with me, and it sort of like help clean up the area little by little. Hey, look, the market work is using the road, or at least this individual tiny section that has been completed, but that is a really good sign. Happy about that. Not quite sure where that guy went off to though, so not very happy about that. This would be so much better when it has a road. Okay, I just realized I haven't been back to New Asgard since the intro, so let's go ahead and throw in the Jotun blood I've been gathering while getting some small stones. And who do we want? I think Yuna would be slightly better because that wildling perk, they might become a good warrior, or at least have higher strength. And yeah, since the road hasn't really been built to the amount that I want, I'm going to grab myself a road maker and probably do a jump cut. Oh my god, that took so long. I'm freezing. I need to get inside that building. No, let me in. Let me in. Let me in now. I'm being serious. Let me in. You know what? I deserve this nap. Whew. Okay, I am awake after a well-needed sleep. Okay, so one more thing to build out here is the farm. Now, this isn't something I'm going to do with every outpost, because I do want New Asgard to supply most of the food and resources outposts will need to survive. You know, that is the point of the series after all. But with things still being very much early game, I'm fine with this as an exception. It'll also help stop each outpost from becoming a carbon copy of one another. I want these places to look and feel as though they grew organically, which, you know, it kind of is right now, isn't it? Normally, I would let my builders take care of it, but for the farm especially, I need to be here when it's completed so I can put down the fields. I can't actually do that from out of town. So I am helping to prioritize bringing it up just so that I don't have to take another trip out here this episode. I'm hoping this will be my last time here for a little bit. So there's the fields, and of course we're going to need a rake, a wooden rake, here at the workshop. And then, ooh, I'm slowly freezing to death. I'm going to do the rest of the tasks from inside the cottage here. So once again, we'll hop in the map, go over to the farm, and open the menu. Now, do I have a green thumb out here? I have no idea. Ivan at least has some proficiency. Let's check his skills. Oh, I do have a green thumb out here. That is a good get. And then task-wise, it's just going to be a mirror of the farm in New Asgard. It's going to have a flax field year-round, and that was another suggestion in the comments of the last video, because apparently the mines just use an absolute metric ton of rope with the torch changes. And we don't need to clear previous plants. Since we are planting the same thing each season, there's going to be no change, no need for that. And then for the other two fields, I'll just do the same medley, you know, a little bit of everything, at least until we get a good stockpile of seeds out here. I do like my medley, it's kind of colourful. It's a nice, colourful little visual soup. Actually, honestly, probably that would probably be a nice soup. That probably would taste quite lovely. And then beetroot in the winter, just because the only thing that grows is flax, and we already have a field dedicated to that. And if anyone tells you they like the taste of beetroot or beetroot soup, they are lying. Don't trust them. So once again, berries in the spring, and then medley across the summer and autumn. I wonder if this way's faster. I don't know. I don't really think it makes much of a difference. And then clear previous plants and hit save. It is almost 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to go back to New Asgard. I'm just going to see if I can quickly find some bark I can to make the door out of, or help make the door out of. Someone beat me to it. Fine, I'll take the hint. I'm leaving. I'm going. Bye-bye. But yeah, I'm going to head back to New Asgard in the event that we have a blood moon tonight. The road is done, so it's going to be super, super fast getting back. There's your one per episode smoker kill. Poor bastards. Is that... It looks like the market worker's gone and left his sled in the middle of the field. That is something that I think should not be a thing. That obviously is a bug, right? No way should a market worker finish their shift and just leave an entire car out in the middle of nowhere. I think this falls under one of those AI tweak fixes we should be getting eventually. Villagers should finish the task they're on before heading out for leisure time or to bed. That is just a simple, logical fact, because we're going to have a situation like this where there's a car in the middle of a field, in the middle of a Draugr field, no less, because now when the market worker starts their shift tomorrow, they're going to have to come all the way out here, wasting a good portion of their shift, take it back home, wasting a good portion of their shift still, and then, you know, after several hours actually begin their work day. That is insane to me. Nope, this is clearly a bug and it should get fixed ASAP. I'll get off my soapbox now. Sorry. Anyway, the next build project I want to get started on here in New Asgard will be a couple of warehouses. One will be dedicated to raw wood, so regular and hardwood logs and long sticks, regular sticks, bark, resin, etc. All the raw wood components basically, while the second warehouse will be for our refined wood. I'm becoming a pretty big fan of having these specialized warehouses where one type of good is stored versus, you know, the jumbled mess I kind of have right now. To be honest, I feel, anecdotally mind you, but I feel it just helps the overall logistics of the village if you have, say, all your raw lumber in one warehouse and refined wood in another. You're just a lot less likely to have swarms of villagers grabbing resources all at once. And also, your warehouse worker won't be buzzing around all over the map trying to fill the different kinds of boxes. The downside is you do sort of like need to reach a population threshold in order to have the villagers for all of these extra warehouses. But, you know, as I was saying earlier, now that we have the iron pickaxe, we can just go out and go absolutely ham overnight at some point and just grab an entire backpack full of Jotun blood. And then it's just a case of, you know, machine gun back-to-back villager summoning. It is 9 o'clock in the evening, so I'm going to go and take a little nap. You know, at some point I need to build a bloody chieftain's hut so I can get like the stamina buff and that huge strength buff. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and take a little nap in the event we get a blood moon tonight. Amazing. I am warmed up. I am rested. Got my stamina boost in case there's a... in case it's one of those. Alright, where's it coming from? Ooh, nice. It's actually coming from the spires. You couldn't ask for a better direction. Okay, so blood moon over. I'm going to go ahead and summon my guys, my warriors over here. They have been creeping a little bit too close to the spire. Makes me a little bit nervous, not going to lie. I do not want a jumpy boy to come on over here and ruin an otherwise victorious night. I do have plans for the big spire. Certainly do. They do not involve getting ambushed. in the middle of a blizzard tonight. And speaking of blizzard, I'm going to go ahead and light a fire and warm my bones up. No, but before I do, I thought about this while taking a nap before the blood moon. I want to add a large stone storage to this warehouse here, and then that way we can start bringing in some large stones from the mine over in Nithafeklich. And I also do want as well a tool and weapon storage. More on that in a second. Holy crap, I am freezing to death. Let's just go warm up and then I'll go over the tool rack. Honest to Odin, I do not know how I've avoided the sore throat debuff this entire episode. I am playing horrifically reckless, absolutely complete disregard to my temperature. Right, I am going to assign some people to the bloomery because quite frankly, I can't be bothered to do it anymore. How many people have I got free, by the way? 4 builders. Oh, you know, we still need to give you a house. Sorry about that, love. Yeah, but 4 builders, that is fine. We can definitely assign 2 of them to the bloomery. Hakon, here's a good candidate. Nighttime worker and also has steadfast resolve. And, you know, out here quite often we have a lot of undead from the spire and the blood moon. So steadfast resolve would be handy for somebody in the line of fire. And for daytime, Dag is perfectly fine. Nothing special about Dag. He's just a good candidate. So now we want to make sure that they have an overlapping schedule. It doesn't really matter what, start time and finish time I have, except a little bit for Hakon, so he can work overnight. But as long as one of them is working while the other's sleeping, and then vice versa, you should be fine. And that's easily achieved with a 12-13 hour work shift. One of them works for 12 hours and then has leisure time in sleeping on the other 12 hours, and, vice versa. Just sort of just reverse it, mirror it with the second worker. Actually, you know what would make this a million times easier? Edit a Bucky, just throw in that part of the 51 tips video. I have a little graphic and animation in there that shows you an example of an overlapping schedule that, it does a way better job than me trying to explain it right now. And then task-wise, I'll just do the standard 4 ore and 16 coal. That's what I get the best sort of results using. My villagers can handle that, and so now we'll be getting plenty of bloom and our iron industry will finally start taking off. we got a drunk or haunted tree back there. Take your pick. So what's the deal with this tool and weapon rack that I said I would explain and then didn't? We're just going to be putting some regular wood hammers on here. Probably about 10, to be honest. That might be overkill. It's probably overkill. I'd rather have too many than too few. They only take 2 sticks to make after all. And that is just so that our bloomery workers, they can just run here and grab a hammer really, really quickly. One more thing. Again, another thing I completely forgot to show. If you come to the new clothing storage box, look, chainmail shirt. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Leather scrap gloves. There's a bunch of stuff in here that isn't in the game yet. And I don't have any insider knowledge. Don't worry, I don't have any spoilers for you. This is just pure speculation. But look, we have all of these things that we haven't seen before. Rough iron helmet, full iron helmet, leather helmet, Norman helmet. That sounds amazing. Maybe there'll be a Sir Bucky shield at some point in one of these storages. So yeah, really, really cool looking armor pieces in here. Fun to speculate about. No idea when or if they'll be in the game. But, if you fancy a little gander, go take a look. They're kind of exciting. Before I forget, which is, on par for me, let's go ahead and change Ragnar's route from Nidafeklich with the iron to include the large stones. And we'll just bring 6 at a time, however many there will happen to be in the storage up there. That will just help because my stone cutter, rather silly of me, it's actually on the other side of town. I've been wanting to move it to this side of town. I probably will at some point anyway. But yeah, the outpost certainly does not need any large stones, at least in this quantity. So having them shipped here will just allow us an extra source of stone to continue to build up, nice and quickly. Also, again, it kind of feeds into that whole outpost supplying the main village with the resources that it needs to thrive. Okay, so let's quickly build a new coal pyre. That's one job that I'm not going to automate quite yet. Although probably just watch this space. I swear to Odin, I'm going to automate it first thing in the next episode. I'm already sick and tired of doing it. I always say this. I'm always one of those people who's like, I'm going to do this myself. And I do it for like half a day, and I'm already bored of it. But I'm just going to quickly build up another pyre, just so we always have some coal on the go. The last thing we want is our bloomery worker or metal worker to run out. So yeah, I'll just do that real quickly. He looks hard at work though. I am enjoying this quite a lot. Everything is ticking away. Oop, tactical roll. Nicely. I still have to get the carpentry industry up and running, but I need a few more metal parts for that before I commit. So you know what? I have an entire box full of simple shirts. I don't know why my market worker isn't taking them over to the outpost. I've checked both the storages here and in the outpost, and they're both set for the linen shirt. So I'm just going to run a bunch of these up myself, mainly because there is a huge deposit of Jotun blood. And just please ignore the fact that I ran completely off the road and into the middle of the woods. I can't see the road when it's covered in snow like this, so... Oh my god, I always try to sound like I know what I'm doing, but visually, half the time, it's very clear that I don't. Alright, so the cottage is up and running from the last time we were here, so let's go ahead and add some extra beds. There we go, absolutely perfect. You know what, I think this would be a really good place for a woodcutter's flag. It is kind of jutting out into the lake. It's probably going to cover most of the lake. Ooh, it does. We've almost got 100% coverage. That is great, great stuff. All right, it is time for my first real, like, Jotun farm. I've been talking about it ever since I got the iron pickaxe. We're finally going to do it. I want to get as much as I bloody can in the time that I have. Our first deposit got us 3. Not a bad start. You know, since we're getting to the end of the episode, how about for fun, Editor Bucky makes this montage sound like a high-stakes, tension-ridden scene for no real reason. No real reason. Okay, so the 2 warehouses are done and I've added 1 extension. But for now, let's rename this one Warehouse Raw Wood. No, could we have longer names, please, devs? Warehouse W1, because that's not going to be confusing later. And then over here, Warehouse W2. Or not. Can we try that again, please? Warehouse W2. There we go. So this one here is going to be raw wood, and you know it's split into those 3 sections. The front section here is going to be hardwood, the middle section is going to be regular wood, and the back section is going to be things like sticks, resin, and things like that. So I'll start with a long stick storage on this side here, and then when it's built, I'll change it to accept hardwood only. And then we'll just press L to build this again. We'll put one in the middle section, and that will be for regular wood only. Although, you know, later in the game, it'll probably be another hardwood one. But for now, regular wood's fine. Then we'll grab a log storage, and we'll do the same. We'll put 1 in the front section, and 1 in the middle section. I do like an organized warehouse. I'm kind of like really OCD about this. And then over here, this is probably where my OCD breaks, to be honest. I think the storage is only like 3 of them here. But we're going to have refined wood only, long carpentry materials. This will hold those beams things. Then a white will attack our barracks, which will distract me. I have to go sort that out. Oi, stop blowing holes in my barracks. Oh my god, that was so embarrassing. How did I miss? It's alright, Editor Bucky will just edit that part out. Right, Editor Bucky? Okay, next up is the long carpentry materials again. No, I don't think there's a second long carpentry materials. I think it's because the long sticks turn into beams and shafts, and the shafts will fall under a different storage. So now let's instead do a large carpentry materials, not to be confused with the long ones. They're very similarly named. We need 2 of these eventually because we have those planks and we have the posts which fit into this. I won't put the second one up yet because it is, you know, they're very, very expensive. But then, yeah, we'll do the small carpentry materials box in the back here. And that should be it. Although I kind of hate that I put it on this side. It should have gone on the other side, but I'm not going to fix that for now because I've got other things to do. And those other things are, we need to add some nails, and I also need to cancel these metal parts. She's done. So the metal parts are lying around in storage. So now I can just request that she make the tool itself, along with Lars here, who just arrived. Amazing. He's going to work here too. And when I select the tool to be made, I'm just going to choose this little tick box here, only use refurbished metal parts. That means she's only going to use the metal parts that she's already made. She's not going to make new ones from scratch. So here's my list. Everything uses recycled or refurbished metal parts, with the exception of the crude iron battle axe, and that's because every time I summon a warrior, I'm going to have them use one-handed weapons, so they'll come in and they'll grab it, and then a new one will be made for the next warrior. If I leave it on refurbished metal parts only, we're not going to have any in stock. But everything else uses those refurbished metal parts, because I don't want to end up with a dozen of one tool and none of the others. And as we get down to the carpentry materials, you see that Vigdis is working on shafts and planks, whereas Lars is working on beams and posts. And that's because the shafts and the planks use the axe, whereas the beam and the post uses the draw knife. And I've never done this before, but it was suggested to me in the comments of my last video, and honestly, it makes a whole lot of sense. Now, Vigdis and Lars aren't going to be fighting over the axe and the draw knife. They'll just use it individually. And eventually we'll get a third and maybe even a fourth crafter in here who will just focus solely on the metalworking side, and then that way nobody is sort of like getting in each other's way. But for now I only have the two crafters, so that's what it looks like at this point in time. Holy crap, I was talking for so long, all the snow melted. We're going into spring, I guess. Oh my god. Me and my bloody little tangents. Although, to be fair, at least this time I didn't freeze to death. Okay, raw wood warehouse up and running. Let's assign somebody to it. Ulfhild has 0 proficiencies. She works night. I don't really care about that. She could just work daytime here. She'll be a little bit unhappy, but it's not going to cause any issues. And like I said a little bit ago, we're just going to have hardwood in the front and regular wood in the back. And with the other warehouse, that's going to take a bit more time to get up and running because those storages used the refined wood. So honestly, I'm going to leave this episode here. I'm not really inclined to wait around for that to be built. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, then please consider grabbing a sub, dropping a like, or leaving a comment. And while you're here, why not check out one of my many other adventures or guides displayed on screen now. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.